Well, search efforts resumed this morning as rescuers combed the area of Crane Beach, hoping to find missing teen Shaquille O'Neal Denny. The 18-year-old of Rollinsland, Silver Sands, Christchurch, disappeared after diving off a cliff at the St. Philip Beach yesterday afternoon. He was reportedly accompanied by other youngsters at the time. Deteriorating sea conditions and bad light forced police and the Barbados Coast Guard to call off the search yesterday evening. Family members and loved ones are helping with the search. The number of first-timers admitted to the psychiatric hospital is up. This revelation from Acting Hospital Director David Leacock.
We have seen a marginal increase in what we call first-time admissions, but factors such as substance abuse and other stressful situations have contributed to that situation. Also, we receive a high number of referrals from the court system, so that has also impacted our number. Even with all that concern, we've not seen an increase in admissions to the hospital in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 years.
Mr. Leacock adds that the overall number of patients at the hospital is between 508 and 515, which is the lowest in the last 3 to 4 decades.
When I first came here in 1994, that number was actually about 600 patients in the hospital. So the strategic plan for the Ministry of Health and the hospital is to reduce the internal population down to about 300. It's going to take a bit from the standpoint of community support as well as other NGOs and what's not, but we hope that as we continue to put the things in place from our community standpoint, we will continue to see changes that we're looking for. In the last, as you mentioned, the last 2 years, we've actually had the addition of our community psychiatrists in the community, 2 additional persons out there, and we have seen a fall off in patient readmissions to the hospital.
The hospital director was speaking on the sidelines of an awards ceremony for staff. Long-standing employees who had given between 20 and 40 years of service were celebrated for their commitment to the job. A new film festival is being planned for Barbados, complete with an Oscar-styled awards ceremony at the end of it. The festival, which will feature locally produced documentaries and short and feature films, begins on September 16th and runs for a month. President of the Barbados Film and Video Association, Lynette Eastman, says the screenings will be done across the island.
Our intention is for it to be a community festival. We know that Barbadians have been supporting our local filmmakers, but we think that there are still many Barbadians that have not seen many of the films that have come out that have been made by Barbadians. So we want to take those films to them.
Ms. Eastman says the festival will also include the screening of documentaries done as part of a school's challenge.
Some schools have been able to produce documentaries which will be screened at the opening ceremony. This is an initiative that we plan to pursue next year as well, because of course if we can have children at secondary school level involved in this activity, certainly it puts them ahead of the game when they become adults, if they decide to go into this field, if they've actually worked in it while they're at school.
After a very solid start, the Barbados Island Inclusive Program appears to have fallen off, but efforts are on to revive it. Member of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association's Marketing Committee, ROSEANNE Myers, says the program was revived last month. Ms. Myers was speaking to BHTA members during the association's quarterly meeting recently.
A lot of the sales generated in the launch in January were generated in maybe the first 15, 20 days. And then we kind of lost focus. And if you look at the bookings that came in after that, towards the end of the booking period, the focus was not there, the visibility in the market was not there. One of the things this new marketing committee is seeking to do is to appoint a champion. Unless someone looks at whether it's the BII or any event, every day that's what you're doing, you're looking to see what's being done in the market, things can kind of trail off.
Ms. Myers says through Rihanna, the #Barbados campaign on Twitter has a very high level of visibility. But the challenge now is to turn what she's described as lookers into bookers.
What we've done is, in association with the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., we are going to come up with a hashtag In this instance, easy, hashtag Barbados Island Inclusive, hashtag free spending money, and absolutely always hashtag Barbados in all of your social media feeds. So that when a person is looking and they type in Barbados, the fact that we have a package is something that will come up top of mind. Every business, basically, when you are tweeting about your property, hashtag Barbados, number one, hashtag Barbados Island Inclusive, will then bring to the fore what the package offer is.
The second man charged with murder in connection with last month's fatal stabbing of Darren Brown at Oystons will appear in court today. He is Dwayne Ralton Leland Simmons, 26 years, of Passage Gardens, Passage Road, St. Michael. 21-year-old Cadian Romaine Chase of Silver Hill, Christchurch, has already been charged in connection with Brown's death. Chase appeared at the District B Magistrates Court on Monday and was remanded to Her Majesty's Prison at Dodds until October 6th. And 38-year-old Adrian Ricardo Seeley of Windsor Tenantry, St. George, will also appear in court for allegedly stealing 2 cows. The cows, valued at $5,500, belong to Corey Straker. They were stolen from Malverton in St. George. One of the cows was recovered at Brighton and the other at Whitehall Tenantry in St. Michael. Well, Barbadians are being encouraged to tune in to a transformational message from Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan in just over a month. It will be delivered at the National Arena in Kingston, Jamaica on October 19th and will be broadcast live throughout the Caribbean and Latin America. David Commission, a member of the organizing committee in Barbados, says the address culminates a 4-day event commemorating the 19th anniversary of the 1995 Million Man March held in Washington, D.C. He also gives a preview of what Mr. Farrakhan will talk about.
He will be delivering a very special message to the Caribbean. A wake-up call, a call to arms. He will be outlining a very practical agenda for the Caribbean to deal with the crisis that we are currently facing and to move forward with confidence and unity as a region.
Nation of Islam student coordinator ABDUL RAHMAN says some of the issues highlighted at the Million Man March remain prevalent today.
On that day, men were asked to atone for domestic violence. We know in the Caribbean now, we're seeing a tremendous rise in domestic violence. Men were asked to come out of gang life, where at that time there were so many killings of young men by the hands of other young men. If we look at right across the Caribbean, including Barbados, we're seeing the murder rate spiraling across the Caribbean. We're seeing gang violence spiraling, really taking a hold now in a big way in the Caribbean.
Students of Welches Primary have embraced a project which sees them giving back to those in need and the community. The Be Charitable project was created earlier this year with the aim of changing the mindset of Barbadian youth. Principal Patricia Lovell says the school saw it fitting to give back after having been on the receiving end of donations in the past. The funds collected through the Be Charitable project were raised through various fundraising drives and donations. The accumulated sum was presented to the Salvation Army this morning. Ms. Lovell wants students of Welches to continue to be the lever of change in their respective communities.
If you start now as a little child, we hope and pray that as you go up, this will be second nature to you, that when you are older, you set aside for other things, that giving to worthy causes will be so ingrained in you that that will become part of your budget.